So this is just this is just an example and what will be a reminder in the future of like some of the stuff you can do with the 2CR entries, and this one was a pretty good one. It's the most flair entry I've taken, so the most sort of use of intuition or creativity, which is a big upside to this sort of model. And yeah, I'll get into it. Regardless of the result of the trade, this was still quite a nice sort of creative entry. And so it's on euro, Canadian dollar. This is the monthly, a bit relevant in all honesty, but the monthly candle was saying downwards. The weekly, we had this weekly week breaker / fair value gap. It was a breaker to me, and that's because of the order flow on the lower time frames. And so I jump into the daily, and yeah, here really is most of it. There's the weekly, and this was the daily, and what we had is the nested fair value areas, which is quite nice, quite strong. Basically had sting into it. Not the strongest 2CR because goes up basically an additional candle, but it's still nice. I didn't mind it coming back all this way just because of the resistance that it was running into. And yeah, that's what made the weekly a breaker. So on the lower time frames, I was looking at I was actually looking at a 4-hour fair value because I missed this entry. And I was looking at a 4-hour fair value gap. I'll actually just cut the graph. It was like this. This is what I was looking at. So we came into the daily, had a bit of weird price action here, honestly. But we were going to create this 4-hour fair value gap. I think if I just undo it, we see how it is. If I go forward one, will it show me kind of what happened? Okay, no, that is the wrong one. Pause. Yeah, this is why these videos are rough. Play forward. Right, I'm not gonna lie, I have no clue how to make it just play out like one bar. Or is this one? Okay. Well, that was the candle. Anyway, so we had Canadian dollar CPI on this candle. I can't remember what time, but it ruined the 4-hour fair value gap here that I was looking for out of the daily. What you also had here, you had a small fair value area or an order block, if you want to call it that, something on the lower time frames. But the thinking behind this was that we should have had a fair value gap here. If it wasn't for the news, we probably would have. And the news sent us up and down, right? And I realize news can obviously swing the markets and change the way it's going, but it was we were bearish. We were continuing downwards. So what I saw here was that we kind of, I don't really like to use it, but we kind of did have a bit of an immediate rebalance, but this is more centered around the news ruining the fair value gap. But if this news is going to be strong or it's going to follow through, the next candle should be going upwards, should be following through. And that's where I thought, okay, so the next candle would be on the 1 hour. That would be the one that's coming into the potential fair value gap here, and that would be the candle that I would be looking at. Is it going to be a good rejection candle? And so what I did, I went to the hourly anyway. And there's your news one. and that was the hourly. And because of this, I class that as a rejection candle. If that was still a fair value gap on the 4 hour, that would have been a rejection candle on the 1 hourly, right? And so because the news, I deemed it to not be following through, and that was a rejection candle, I thought, okay, the market's still respecting the highs, and it will be continuing to disrespect the lows. So this was my entry, just on the bottom of this, stop loss on the top of this candle, and I think I can just play it through now. There's nothing really to it. I went break even. It's quite late because the order flow wasn't the best, wasn't too many fair value gaps going on, so couldn't actually go break even that quickly here. Can I just skip that? I'll just let it play out. But yeah, that was the entry, and that was a pretty creative entry, seeing as there was no fair value gap here. The only thing I'm thinking is, could I have waited for the next hourly candle? Yes, I probably still would have got TP, because that's your 2 candles in your 2 CR, whereas I took the first one. However, that is a pretty strong, or it would be if there's a fair value gap, that would be a pretty strong rejection candle for me. This one alone, it's 90% going downwards, and yeah, that was a trade. And that was the kind of creativity around the entry and the intuition sort of based entry. And just playing with news, and I always pay attention to news if it follows through or if it doesn't, because sometimes when it doesn't follow through, it's a nothing move, and then the candles after, it's quite nice to play those candles.